CCC family, it's Dawn Marie with Custom Comfy Crochet, and today I'm going to show you how to make this cute gnome ornament. This works up really quick and it is definitely beginner friendly. I'm going to show you how to do everything step by step, and I'm going to leave all the materials that you need for this project in the description box below. But I will tell you, I'm starting off with a 4mm hook, okay? So let's get into the project. So this piece right here, this piece is actually a granny square, and I'm going to show you how to turn that into a triangle, and then I'm going to show you how to do the face and the nose, okay? So what we're going to start on first is we're going to start on the little white face here. So I'm going to pull out my white yarn. First thing that we're going to do is make a magic circle. Then we're going to put 6 single crochets into the magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you're going to pull tight. We're not going to be working in the round, so I'm going to go ahead and close this off with a slip stitch. So I'm going to go into my first single crochet that I made, and I'm going to make a slip stitch through there. And that might be a little hard to get into. Then I'm going to chain 1 to pull our work up, and the same spot where I just slip stitched into, I'm going to put 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to put another single crochet. I'm going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around for a count of 12. And now we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet, not the chain of 1. And this might start to curve in on you or turn in. Don't worry about it. It'll work out in the end. Now we're going to chain 1 in that same spot we just made a slip stitch into. We're going to make 1 single crochet. Then we're going to go into the next and put 2 single crochets. We're going to go into the next and put 1 single crochet, and into the next we're going to put 2 single crochets. And that is our sequence for all the way around: 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. By the time you get to the end, you should have a stitch count of 18. And you're going to slip stitch into your first single crochet, not your chain of 1. Just like that. Then you're going to chain 1, and that same place you just slip stitched into, you're going to put 1 single crochet. Then you're going to go into the next stitch and put 1 single crochet, and then you're going to go into the next and put 2. And then you're going to go into the next stitch and put 1 single crochet, into the next put 1 single crochet, and then into the next you're going to put 2. And that's your sequence for all the way around. By the end of this round, you should have a stitch count of 24. And then you're going to slip stitch into your first single crochet. Remember, not your chain of 1. Okay, now you're going to chain 1 into that same spot you just did a slip stitch. You're going to put 1 single crochet. Then you're going to go into your next stitch and put 1 single crochet, go into your next stitch and put 1 single crochet, and then go into the next and put 2. And then again, 1 single crochet in your next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then your next stitch put 2. And at the end of this round, you should have a stitch count of 30. Okay, and then when you get to the end, remember to slip stitch to your first single crochet, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to go into this stitch right here that you just slip stitched into and make a single crochet. Then go into the next and make a single crochet, into the next and make a single crochet, and into the next make a single crochet. So that's 4, 3 and 4, and then you're going to go into your next stitch and put 2 single crochets. And then you're going to do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the next stitch put 2 single crochets, and then you're going to do 4 single crochets again, and then 2 single crochets, and that's your sequence for all the way around. And by the end of this round you should have a stitch count of 36. Okay, so we got to the end of that round, and now we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet. And now we're going to do one more increase round. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to go into the place we just slip stitched into and put a single crochet, and then we're going to do 5 of those. So into the next stitch, your next single crochet, into the next, another single crochet, into the next, another single crochet, and into the next, another single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the next, we're going to put 2 single crochets. And that is your sequence for all the way around. So again, 1 single crochet in your next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in the next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochets. So just do that all the way around, and by the end of this round you should have 42 stitches. Okay, so we're at the end of this round, and we're going to make a slip stitch into our first single crochet, just like that. And now we're done with all of our increases. Now I do want to tell you, for these, I get these questions all the time in my videos. So as you can see, one is bigger, one is smaller. This is about the same size as this one. The reason why some look bigger and some are smaller is because I use different size hooks. So that's what I do to make them bigger or smaller. So I'm using a 4mm hook for this, as you can see. So that makes about this size. This is what it looks like in my hand. So if you were going to go up to like a 5mm, this is what it would look like. And if you went up to 6, it would all be bigger. Now this means that you're going to use the same hook size for the granny square that we're going to turn into a triangle and the actual face itself, okay? So that's how you make these bigger and smaller. Now we're going to do the edging around this. So the first thing that we're going to do is chain 1, and then we're going to go right back into that same place we just made a slip stitch and put a single crochet. And then we're going to make 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to put a single crochet in there as well. Then you're going to skip a stitch, go into your next stitch and put a slip stitch. And then you're going to work right into your next stitch and put a single crochet, 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And then in that same stitch, a single crochet. Then you're going to skip a stitch, go into your next, put a slip stitch, and then go into your next stitch and make a single crochet, 3 half double crochets. Remember, this is all in the same stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're also going to put a single crochet. And then you're going to skip a stitch, go into the next and put a slip stitch. And then again, go into your next stitch, put a single crochet, 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and then a single crochet, all in the same stitch. And then you're going to keep repeating that all the way around. When we get close to the end, I'll meet you back up again and show you what to do. Okay, so we're into our last little shell stitch here that we're going to make. We just did our slip stitch. I'm going into my next stitch and putting a single crochet, then 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to put a single crochet in that same spot. Then I'm going to skip a stitch and go into my next and make a slip stitch. Okay, just like that. And now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 shells all the way across. And now what you can do is cut off, and you're going to work in your end. Now we're going to move on to our granny square. I'm going to make a magic circle. I'm going to chain 2, and into this magic circle I'm going to put 2 more double crochets because that first chain counted as a double crochet. So then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to put 3 more double crochets. Then I'm going to chain 2 again, and I'm going to put 3 more double crochets. Then I'm going to chain 2. And then I'm going to close up my magic circle, just like that. And I'm going to slip stitch to the first chain of 2 I did to the top of that right here. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 3 double crochets, and now we've got a tiny little square. I'm going to bring in my white just like this. And I'm going to tie it off in the back. And I'm not going to cut anything off because I'm going to keep working over these so that I don't have to keep cutting and working things in. And then I'm even going to take all of these and I'm going to work over them. So I'm going to be working over this red piece that I used here, and I'm also going to be working over these ends. Okay, so now I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to pull this even tighter in the back. Just like that. I'm going to pull all these up, and I'm just going to work right over them. And I'm going to go into my next stitch, the top of that one, and I'm going to make a double crochet. 1, and then I'm going to go into my next stitch and make a double crochet. So I'm working over the 3 I did already, and then I'm at a corner here, and in the corner I'm going to put 2 double crochets. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to put 2 more double crochets. And then we're back across the top here, and we're going to put a double crochet in each stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're at another corner. In the corner, we're going to put 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Okay. If you like this video so far, please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notify me bell. And sharing helps more than anything, and I appreciate it so much, guys. So then we're still working over these. Once you feel like you've worked over them enough, you can just set them to the side or cut them off. So I think I've worked over those pretty good. You can also make another knot if you want. You could work them in, do whatever you want to do that you feel like is best, but I'm just going to cut off. But I'm going to leave this red piece that I had. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to keep working over that till we get to the end so I can switch back to that. Okay, so now we're over here and we're going to be working our double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then when you get to the corner, you're going to work 2 double crochets. chain 2 and 2 double crochets, and then we're up here at the top and we've got our 3 double crochets right here. We're going to work across the top of those. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then we're back in our corner and we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, and then we're going to slip stitch to the top of our first chain of 3 here. Okay, then we can drop our white and pick up our red, pull that right in, pull tight, and chain 3, just like that. Now we're going to be working over the white yarn. So this counts as my double crochet right over this one, and we're going to work a double crochet in each stitch till we get to our corner. And then when you get to your corner, you're going to make 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Okay, and you're going to keep doing that all the way around, just working a double crochet in each stitch. And then when you get to the corner, you're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets all the way around. When we get close to the end of this round, I will meet you back up. Okay, so we're on our last little bit here. We're still working over our white yarn. We're going into our corner. We're going to put 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, and then we're going to work in our next 2 stitches here, still working over the white. Put a double crochet in the next one and a double crochet into the next, just like that. And then we're going to slip stitch to the top of our chain of 3. And then we're going to bring in our white yarn. We're going to pull tight. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to be working over the red yarn as we go along. So when we go to pull this up, it'll kind of pull that up, but do 3. 1, 2, 3, chain 3, and then just pull tight on that red. And then you're going to again work over that, putting a double crochet in each stitch till you get to your corner. So this is pretty repetitive at this point. You're just going to put double crochets all the way down, and then when you get to your corner, you're going to put 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, remembering to alternate with your yarns and keep working over them as you go. Okay, you want 5 rounds, so we've got 1, 2, 3. So you're going to do another round of white, and then you're going to finish up with a round of red, and then we'll come back and I'm going to show you how to fold it up and put it on here, and I'm also going to show you how to do the nose. Now I'm going to be using a hot glue gun to put on my nose and put on my granny square triangle and my little puff here, but you can sew all of that on if you want to. Okay, so I'll be back in just a minute to show you how to put it together and make the nose. So I finished my granny square. I've got all my ends here tucked in on the back side. I really don't need to work them in because I'm going to be folding this up and sewing it together. I've already got a piece of red yarn on my darning needle. You want to use the yarn that corresponds with the end yarn that you used here. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to fold this up. You're going to turn it like it's a diamond here, just like this. So normally it'd be like that, or like this, but now we're going to turn it where this is like a diamond. I'm going to put these in here, and then I'm going to fold these ends over like this, where they lay like a triangle, like this. And I'm going to start here at the very top and I'm going to sew my way down, and then I'm going to push this up, and I'm going to sew down here and over here. So let me show you how to do this. So again, I've got all my little pieces hooked in. I'm going to start right here at the very tippy top. Okay, like this. And I want you to leave a long piece here at the end, about 1 foot long, because you're going to use that to make your hanger, okay, for your ornament or wherever you want to hang this. Okay, and then I'm going to go into my next stitch. So I'm just kind of going along, matching up the stitches on each side, and I'm going to sew this together. Just like that. All the way down. Just like this. Okay, so now I'm going to push these little pieces up in here. I've sewed all the way down, and now I'm going to push this up like this. And I'm going to go along this side. I'm going to catch it right in the middle here. And we're just going to start sewing down the side over here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this through this side over here and go over this way so I can catch it on the other side without having to cut or work in ends or anything like that. And then I'm just going to start right where we stopped over here and then start working down this side. Okay, and just like that, you have a pretty little triangle or hat for our little gnome ornament. So if you wanted to sew this on to your work, you could do that with this, or you could just use white, whatever you wanted to do. But I'm just going to work this in by going in and out of this, going into the same spot 3 times. Just like this. And then you can cut off. Just like that. Then I'm going to take this piece and go ahead and make the hanger. I've got my glue gun warming up. It's been warming up since the beginning of this video, so it's nice and hot. But again, like I said before, you can definitely sew all this together. You could also use fabric glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right through the top of this to make our hanger, just like this. And then I'm going to pull up so it's as long as I want it to be. Then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to make a knot, just like so. And I'm going to knot that twice. And then I'm going to work in this end back into my project. Okay, so I'm going to work this right back into the middle here Again, 3 times is the charm if you can get it. Just right back into the middle. Going in and out of the same spot is what you want to do. For this nose, and I'm using a 8mm hook, so a pretty big hook, and I'm going to make a slip stitch. What you could do for this if you don't have this kind of thick yarn is you could just double your own yarn 2 or 3 times and make the nose as well. You could also use one of these pom-poms or anything you wanted for the nose, but this is what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to make that slip stitch, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna make 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to pull tight. Then I'm going to go into my first single crochet, and I'm going to make a slip stitch, just like that. Then I'm going to chain 1, go back into my same spot and put a single crochet, and put a single crochet in each stitch around for a count of 6, 2, so no increases, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to slip stitch to the top of my first single crochet, just like that. And then I'm going to turn this inside out. Okay. And pull tight on the middle. And then I'm going to cut a long piece off, because I'm going to slip stitch around that to pull that in. So I'm just going to I'm going to push this back into my work, this little piece from the middle. And then I'm just going to pull this piece out. And I'm going to put this on. I like to use plastic hooks when you're using the bigger, thicker yarn. I think it works better. It won't get as caught. And then I'm going to go into each stitch around, just doing a pulling my yarn through, okay? So I'm going to go right into this first stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm just simply going to pull tight. Just like that. I'm going to make sure that that's in there. And that's what it looks like on the other side. Okay? And then I'm just going to work this back through. Doesn't matter where I go. 1, 2, and 3. Just working this end in so I can cut it off. Just like that. And as you can see, that just kind of closes that hole in the middle for you right there. You might have to pull pretty tight, okay? And then we can cut that off. And now we can put this all together. So what I like to do is I'm going to put this right here, a little bit below the center. So just a little bit below is where I'm going to place that. So I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to put a little bit here on the end and go right below that area right there. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to go over the nose all the way to the ends here, just like this. So what I like to do is basically you're going in half. So if you start here from the nose, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to the 4th one over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little dot of glue right here. And a little dot of glue right here. hot glue works really good with yarn. Okay, and then I'm going to pull this over the nose and onto the piece right there where I just put my hot glue. And then I'm just going to hold it. Again, like I said, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but you can simply sew this on if you wanted to. I just thought it was easier to do it this way. Okay, and if you have any strings or anything, you can pull those off right up here at the very top where my hanger is. Just like that. I've got a beautiful little gnome ornament with a hanger. They're so cute. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you need any help or anything, don't hesitate to ask. You can obviously ask below in the YouTube comments section, but you can also find me on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. All of those are below in my description box where you can find me there, but all you have to do is look up Custom Comfy Crochet. So I'll see you soon. Thanks guys. Bye-bye. God bless.